Ghana is a signatory to the 1989 UN Basel Convention, which controls transboundary movement of hazardous waste and its disposal. More so is the passage of the Electronic Waste Control and Management Act, Act 917 of 2006. But how are these regulations shaping e-waste management in the country?
The Act 917 actually provides for a fund, and then the fund is supposed to get money from eco levy. We call it advanced eco recycling levy. And this levy is supposed to be paid on products that are coming in country from the country of export. And these are on used and new electrical and electronic products coming into Ghana. So these levies will be imposed on these items, and this levy will go into this fund, and the fund will be used to support sound recycling of e-waste in country. And that is the framework for managing the e-waste along the value chain. But it is not only to support recycling, but to support research, education, awareness creation, and other things. And then also there's a portion where we are supposed to have a national facility where our e-waste will be processed. So there's this fund available to cater for how e-waste should be managed. And going forward, what is going to happen is when you collect, you'll be paid for collecting. And people who are having these e-waste in their houses or electronic products that have reached their end of life and they want to dispose of it, it is now waste. You can just bring it to a collection center and get paid for it.
What sometimes becomes problematic for us is enforcement of regulations. Even with the e-waste fund, there are still fears among some experts whether the fund will be utilized for the intended purpose. But of course, we are not doomsday sayers. So I must say that yes, for now, we are on course in terms of implementation. But whether we'll be bold enough to implement and enforce the regulations is where we are all looking at.
Some waste management firms in Ghana have already started recycling e-waste with appropriate methods, but require support. One of such recycling firms is Zeal Environmental Technologies, which has a waste management plant at Nyakrum in Ghana's western region.
We at Zeal manages fluorescent tubes and bulbs. We manage computers and other e-waste, used e-waste. What is going on over here is printer cartridges and then toners that has come from a company, one of our clients that we are managing for. It is going through a high temperature incinerator behind me, which incinerates these cartridges and toners at high temperatures, environmentally friendly manner. It is a smokeless incinerator and it's a 180 ton per hour incinerator. We also have other facilities that manages other e-waste like fluorescent tubes. We call that facility bulb eater. It crushes the bulb into pieces, and we have other facilities as well. What we believe in Zeal is that the eco levy can support Zeal in the sense that Zeal is already doing collection already, which the eco levy allocates 20% for that. We are also into management and disposal of e-waste, which is 40% from the eco levy. We believe that if Zeal can benefit from this eco levy, this will give Zeal the best way to manage waste to support Ghana for this e-waste management.
Eco levy collection on every imported electronic product started in November 2008 at all ports in Ghana, but is the state using it to support the likes of Zeal in managing the e-waste menace?
You won't find one company only dealing in e-waste because probably the support is not there and the volumes that they will collect is not that easy. So you find most of them doing different things. What we are planning to do is to do a facility audit if you are capable of doing e-waste, what type of e-waste fractions are you able to handle? Then we will publish this data on our website so that at least people who are collecting can actually take their e-waste to them for recycling. Now, the fund is actually supposed to support them. Now, what is going to happen is, as I said, you will be paid for recycling or for dismantling. But we are now in the discussion of how the national system should work. But whether the fund should pay for a ton of materials recycled or a ton of material collected, or and you know there's this component of the positive fraction that can be sold. So when you are paying somebody, you need to factor in the cost of the precious metals that the person will get out of it. We are in discussion of how the model will work. We are yet to appoint a fund manager. So currently we are just putting in the structures.
My expectation is that once the fund becomes operational, we look at ways of supporting these indigenous companies to live up to the expectations we have for them in managing the various aspects of the e-waste. The fear now is trying not to create monopoly for one company because of political affiliations, etc. So making the regulatory framework an even playing field for all players in the sector, for me, is one of the key responsibilities of government in trying to manage these e-waste issues.
Hazards with the inappropriate extraction of valuable metals from e-waste might be clearly evident. Surprisingly, these scrap dependents do not want their business formalized.
If they bring factory here, it would have helped. But if they bring the factory, we too will not get something. I don't think if the factory come, we like this will be able to be included working in the factory. So it means we have lost like that. Maybe that one too also cause harm to our education side, because this is where we always get our small money and then continue. So if they brought a factory here and then we are not able to work again, where will we go and hustle for small amount and then continue our education?
We are working towards how we can actually perfect what they are doing to actually still create these jobs and even create more. So we don't need to collapse them and say because the law has come, your activity should stop. And then it means that we are just creating more, we are pushing people more out of jobs and then creating a new set of jobs for other people. So for us, we are regulators, fine, and then most of these informal sector, they are already organized in associations, and we are helping them, and other donor partners are helping them in terms of they having the right tools to work with. It's the tools that they need to work with.
Of course, the TENCA guidelines spells out what they can do and what they cannot do. So we need to enforce it. That as a collector, you cannot do dismantling. As a collector, you cannot do burning. There are certain things we need to ban them up front and say you are not capable of doing this. Let's give them the capacity to do the collection. They are very good at it. They are very good in going from house to house, factory to factory, office to office to collect this e-waste for us. We pay them economic price for what they have collected, and then we channel it into sound recycling. That is the way to go.
The problem of e-waste to Africa is what has attracted the interest of the international movement of Catholic students, Pax Romana, which is putting faith into action for ecological sustainability through the reduction in the e-waste threat.
The church, in its declaration, to encourage we Catholics, to encourage everybody in the world to have a concern for the environment. Anything that exists in the environment, we have to take care of it, because when we take care of the environment will also take care of us. So our interest in e-waste management is not just a mere coincidence. So we, in our own stead, as a movement across Africa, are joining our voice, are joining in the action and promotion of e-waste management throughout Africa and throughout the world. So for instance, people in Togo, the youth in Togo, the Catholic movement in Togo, those in Nigeria, those in Rwanda, those in Kenya, have all taken steps to promote this e-waste management. For instance, in Togo, the students have created a collection point where people will come and dump their waste, their broken laptops, their broken refrigerators, anything that is electronic that is broken. They have created a collection point for them to come and pick it up. And then they take it to an organization that is into managing e-waste. They go through the right process, use the right gadgets to be able to break down this waste and end up recycling it. In Rwanda, we know about EnviroSave. In Nigeria, we know about eTerra that is taking steps to be able to manage this waste. In Ghana, definitely we have Zeal Environmental Technologies that is also making very good efforts to manage e-waste.
As the Pax Romana and its affiliates, as well as government, push for streamlining the sector, the question of whether or not to ban used electronic products still lingers.
We need to look at our national circumstances. How many people can afford a brand new product? So all these things came into the discussion when we were developing the law, whether to ban used items, looking at your national circumstances. So it's a gradual process. You can't just say you are banning some of these things. For now, we should have the capacity to deal with it when it comes. If some of these products are actually waste, they shouldn't come in country. So what we have put in place is when the levies are being collected, they are doing physical inspection in the country of export. And that's what the external service provider that we have appointed under the law is doing.
The problem with our country and in most developing countries is that oftentimes you have second-hand appliances being more durable than the brand new ones. And also the cost of purchasing a brand new appliance, looking at economy like ours, also is an issue. And so it's easy to say let's ban all second-hand appliances, but you look at the feasibility of it. Because if I buy a brand new tape recorder, that will break down in 2 weeks' time, but a second-hand one can last for 2 years. Then what's the justification for banning the second-hand one?
In the middle of the overwhelming e-waste challenge, shouldn't proper waste management lifestyles, including waste separation, be considered?
We need behavior change, and in behavior change, you need to include it in the curriculum. The tricky issue, however, is that behavior change goes with infrastructure. So if I come and teach you to separate waste, and then I provide you with the bins for separation, you also expect me that when you separate the waste and I come to the collection, I collect them separately. But at the moment, we don't have the infrastructure. So it's easy to say, let's introduce it into the curriculum, but not until we have built the infrastructure to take care of, to enhance the teaching that we are going to do. Because if I go to a school and I say, this bean, green bean is for organics, this is for this is for this, and I give them 4 different beans, and I ask them to separate, do I have the infrastructure to collect them along the same routes? No. If I don't have, and I go there with one truck and collect all the 4 beans into one truck, what is the motivation for the children to do the source separation? We need a lot of upstream infrastructure before we go down to the school level. At this stage, in my opinion, we are not there yet.
The time to confront the e-waste menace is now. But is it a challenge for just consuming countries or producing countries as well?
We really need to control illegal importations. But this cannot be done by the government of Ghana alone. It's a global issue. E-waste is not one country problem. It's a global problem. We have all signed on to the Basel Convention that regulates importation or exportation of hazardous wastes. And therefore, countries in Europe, etc., must also support in stopping the exportation of e-waste through unofficial channels into countries like Ghana.
If we do not take care of e-waste and manage it properly, the future that is coming after us are going to suffer.